Okay, so what we're looking at here is the homepage for benztownbranding.com, our production and imaging libraries platform. As I mentioned before, we've got 21 different libraries for all formats. And for sake of example here, I'm going to use our CHR library to go through. So I'll click on the CHR icon and it will bring us to the splash page for this library. And basically on the splash page, it's your entry page to show you where you are. Obviously, at the top here, you've got a composite, basically a demo of things that were created using elements in the CHR library. Below that is a megamix that our guys put together at the end of each year. So right now, obviously, we're still looking at what we did for 2020. Great mashup. I suggest you check that out. And then as you go down, there's some other information that's helpful to know about the library. Basically, in this section, we like to highlight what the most downloaded elements are in that particular library, so you can see what other people are doing. And then over here is a quick listing of the most recent elements that have been uploaded to the library. Then down here below, you'll just get a quick RSS feed of our blog, our Twitter account, and of course, we highlight one piece every week that we think is great, and we put that down here as well. If you scroll down a bit more, you'll see a few of the members that are responsible for building that specific library. We have an imaging director and a format captain, basically, for every library who's building the shelled pieces, the promos, the sweepers, and that stuff. And of course, there are sample VO in the library too, and these are the VO talents that provide that. So to get into the library, the first thing you want to do is just click See All Files, and it will bring you into the main user interface for the library. So basically, the first thing you see when you enter is all of these elements down the center of the page. And you'll see that the navigation is all on the left-hand side of the page here. All of these categories are expandable to reveal subcategories. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now just to open all of these up. And you'll see that it reveals all of these other subcategories for us. So when you first log into the library, all the elements that you'll see are displayed based on date they were uploaded to the library. So you're going to see the most recent stuff in here immediately. And then as you scroll down, you'll basically see that it works on an infinite scroll feature, sort of like Facebook or Instagram. So it will continue to populate with new elements as you continue to go down, basically all the way till you reach the end of the rainbow. I don't recommend that as the way to use the library, but if you want to, that's possible. What you'll see also is that you can sort your files on display here by several criteria in ascending or descending order. And you'll find that at the toolbar up here. Here, obviously, you can sort by name. Here, you can sort by what kind of element it is, what category. Here, you can sort by tempo. You can sort by what key the element is in, if it's like a music bed or a drum loop or that sort of thing. Here, you can sort by length in ascending or descending order. And of course, date it was uploaded to the library. So lots of different ways that you can kind of organize your results. The other thing you'll notice is that up here is where the audio player is located. So when you click on an element to preview that element, it will show the waveform here in the audio player to audition that element. So I'll click play just to show you what that's all about. I fell for your magic. And that's an acapella, and you know that because the abbreviation ACAP. And of course, then it shows the waveform for that file, and it shows you that's what you're listening to. So all of our elements reside on what we call sound cards, these rectangles here. And on each one, there are a few basic functions that I'll tell you about real quick. So this icon here is how you download an element individually, and that will download to whatever destination you have set up on your machine. This icon here with the plus is how you add a file to your zip box, basically your shopping cart. And you'll see your shopping cart, your zip box up here where it says current zip. And then this icon will add this file to your favorites, which you can see up here. And that's basically like a bookmark, right? So if you have a music bed or an artist ID or some kind of listener audio that you like to use regularly, you can just favorite it and it will store all that stuff for you in here. Anytime you want to deselect it, very simple, just click on that. Again, if you click on favorites, it will show all the different things that you've already favorited. Okay, I'm going to take you down the left-hand side through some of these categories and talk about how they're best utilized at the station level, how they're set up, and all that stuff. So again, right here, all files, you'll see that there's about 90,000 elements in total in the library across all categories. Below that is where you'll find everything that's new just this week. Below that, you'll find everything that's new since the last time you visited the site. So that's a dynamic number depending on what account you're using. So what a lot of people will do is they'll just click on that every time they log in and then download everything showing there, which of course will make sure that they have all the current updated stuff locally on their hard drive. And then below that is going to be our topicals section. So this is going to be where we have special audio based on the calendar. So current events, any holidays, award shows, anything that might be central to the format, we'll have audio for that in this topical section. Regardless of what kind of category or what kind of element it is, you'll see everything in there. So I'll click on Valentine's Day here just to show you. You'll see there's listener audio. A lot of it's listener audio. Here's a sweeper. And so again, anything related to Valentine's Day is going to be found in there. And that's just a quick shortcut that we change out as the calendar moves along. The imaging section is where you're going to find all of the pre-produced shellable content, all the stuff that can be customized at the local level. The brandings, the promos, the sweepers, the stuff with various mix outs, so you can pop in local VO and then get it on the air pretty quickly. So I'll just kind of go through each of these. The brandings are basically branded song intros. So we're following all the indicator stations and media base and BDS. And so anytime a new record is added to the format, we'll produce a branded song intro for that record. And that usually includes an artist ID, obviously the intro of the song, and then beat match to go directly into that song. So what a lot of stations will do is they'll put this branded song intro at the start or in front of that particular song in their automation system. So for the first couple of months that song's in rotation, you're reinforcing for the audience, this is where you find that particular song. So to show you what that's all about, I'm going to click this one right here just to play an example. Hey, what's up, y'all? It's yours truly, Jason. Brand new.
Hello, this is Adam. 104.1 KRBE. Oh, yeah. You shining bright like Rihanna.
So there you'll see, obviously, there's the branded intro. At the end, there's the call letters, KRBE, and then it's beat match to go directly into that song. You'll also notice that on all of these sound cards, there's this little icon here with the downward arrow, and if you click on that, it will open up the sound card to give you a sub list. So this is where you're going to find all the different mix outs and the different versions of each branding. And so the main version is going to be the full example that we just heard with sample call letters, KRBE of course. And then below that, you're going to find various mix outs that can be customized depending on time and resources and that sort of thing. The shell is going to be everything with just the VO extracted. So it's the entire produced element, but with the VO extracted from it, so you can pop in your own local VO and call letters. The next one's going to be everything without the listener audio in there. So if you wanted to put in your own listener audio, or if it's regional, of course you can do that. The next one's going to be in there with no artist IDs. Next one was just an instrumental, which is pretty self-explanatory. And then the next one is going to be all of the individual work parts that were used to build that specific branding. So the analogy that we like to use for a lot of these is that we give people the meal fully cooked, the full version and the shell, or we also give them all the ingredients if they want to cook the meal themselves, you know, the individual work parts. If they wanted to build it on their own, make some edits and change up something about it, we also provide that for them. So that's what these sound cards are all about when they expand and give you the different mix outs. And that's really what the branded song intros are, the brandings. The promos, of course, pretty self-explanatory, but these are also built on the same structure, just like the sweepers too. You'll notice that all these have different mix outs, different versions. Again, it will tell you what the versions are. The A version's the full, then the shell, then the instrumental, then all the individual pieces. So you know what you're getting, regardless of which mix out you download. And so for the promos, we're producing, 2 to 3 new promos per week in each library. For the sweepers, we're producing 4 to 6 new sweepers per week. One of the things that you'll see in the promos and sweepers, which is really cool, is this new icon that we didn't talk about yet. It is a downloadable script for that specific promo. So if you like this promo and you wanted to run it on your station, basically you can click that icon. It will get for you a PDF of that specific promo, of the copy, and then you can send that off to your local VO person, and boom, it's customized, ready to go, and you can do your thing. So I'll go back to the library now. And so that's how the promos work. Again, sweepers are built on the same functionality, same workflow, multiple versions, multiple mix outs for each one, so you can download those. And it's all pretty straightforward from there. The music category is where you're going to find all of the original composition elements, music beds, drum loops, ramp loops, all the stuff that we compose on our side. We have full-time composers, and their sole job is to crank out these kinds of pieces for the library. We're very proud of these. There are categories that we like to hang our hat on. We've got ASCAP award-winning producers that are putting these together. So just to kind of show you how these are set up, I'll click into the music beds category. And the music beds category is set up similar to the way that the imaging elements are, in that there are multiple versions of each bed that we create. So you'll notice that because, again, there are these icons that allow you to open the sublist to multiple mixouts for each one. So obviously you open up this one and you'll see that there's the main version, the B, the C, and the drums only. The difference is the A version is the full instrumentation, so everything that went into making that particular bed, there it is. The B version is going to be everything that went into that bed minus lead guitar, for example. And then the C version is going to be everything minus lead guitar and minus keys or minus bass or something like that, all the way down to D, the drums only version. So you can obviously see that in the waveform too, how it changes. So theoretically, there is a music bed that would work for you, depending on what you're trying to put together. Another thing that you'll notice in the music beds category is that each one of these is available to you in a quick 30-second file, a 60-second file, or the full version. And as you can see, most of these beds are actually about 2 minutes long. So these are created with the same structure as a record or a song, right? So there's an intro, there's a verse, a chorus, a refrain, etc. And you can see that in the waveform as well. So these are fully produced, comprehensive music beds that can be used for anything. If you're building your own imaging pieces, or you can use them in spot production, whatever you need. That's what these are all about. Again, you can see that this is an area where it's very helpful to utilize the different navigational tools like organizing by tempo, organizing by key, particularly in music beds. So that's what these are all about. Loops are going to be similar to music beds, super useful. They're not going to be as long as music beds. You'll see that most of the loops are between 20 and 30 seconds. A bit more simple from a musical structure standpoint. You can see that in the waveform where it kind of gets into what it's doing and then it just continues on, hence the loop. But just like the music beds, we produce multiple versions of each one. So depending on what you're trying to do, hopefully there's a version that works for you. Ramp loops are a category basically of talkover ramps for records in the format. So we'll extract those and get them in here so you can use those for any purpose. Music hooks, pretty self-explanatory. Same thing with records in the format. We'll extract these hooks and put them in this category. So if you want to build your own hook promos, you can. Whatever you might need to use those for, those are in there too. Stagers are a category basically of the shortened music beds. They're like micro music beds. The stagers and the music beds category mirror each other basically. So you'll notice that here we are in the stagers category, and we've got Big Cheers, No Limit, Oscar Night, Red Roses. I'm going to click on the music beds category, and we've got Big Cheers, No Limit, Oscar Night, Red Roses. So there is a corresponding stager for each bed that we make. And essentially, it's just an abbreviated version, which you'll see here in the length, 18 seconds, 23 seconds. So it takes out some of the, I guess, the elaborateness of some of the beds. So that's what those are about. Instrumentals, pretty self-explanatory for all records in the format, at least that we can get our hands on. And then same thing with acapellas too. So that's what the music section is all about. Very, very useful stuff. In the sound design category, effects are going to be all of your whooshes, your zaps, your hits, your starters, your breakers. Obviously, everyone knows what effects are, but we've got nearly 3,500 of those in there. The sound effects, of course, are going to be anything occurring in the natural world. So, a door closing, a horn honking, anything like that. That's what that category is all about. Drones and pads are going to be the elements that create atmosphere and create a scene. So, anything that might create tension, drama, stuff that literally will drone in the background. So, for example, I'll play this drone just to get an idea. So, stuff like that adds texture to a production. And then alien imaging is actually just a separate category of just effects. We actually purchased it from a library called Alien Imaging. So we have really in total almost 7,000 elements of effects in the library in total. So that's what those are all about. So the next section that we'll look at is the voice sample section here. And in voice samples, the first category is artist audio. And of course, this category is pretty self-explanatory. It just contains thousands of clips of the actual artists themselves that are central to the format. Of course, pre-COVID, we'd have an easier time getting some of this audio. We would go to all of the award shows and do the backstage red carpet radio thing with the interviews and collect as much as we could. We use some different methods these days, but we're still able to get some good stuff. So that's all in here. The samples and drops category is going to be all of the stuff that is basically from pop culture. So any drops or audio from TV shows, movies, anything that a producer might find useful that is current and topical there. Acapella cuts is exactly what it sounds like, but essentially chopped and edited cuts from specific songs and records. Of course, just the acapella versions in there too. Listeners is going to be a category full of all kinds of different listener audio. So again, pre-COVID, we would gather as much of this as we could by going around and shoving a mic in people's faces and just asking them questions. So everything from, it's my favorite station, or I listen every morning, to holiday content, to topical stuff. There's, as you can see, almost 7,500 different listener files. So ideally, there's something that would apply to every situation in there. Below that, numbers and letters is a category simply of people saying numbers and letters. So for whatever reason, if you need to use that, that's what that is. And then below that is our format specials section. And this is where we'll have specific content that isn't naturally related to the format. Of course, here we have our coronavirus 411, which was a feature we started in mid-2020 during the middle of the peak of the pandemic. We obviously aren't doing that anymore, but as you can see, that's where that stuff will live. So if ever there is a need to do additional new features, that's where those will belong. Probably the most powerful aspect of the Benztown Libraries platform is the search functionality. So I'm going to show you a little bit about how that works and the best way to utilize it. Up here is the search bar, and of course, it works on keyword, just like Google, if you will, but there's a lot of other things you can do with it too. So first, I'm just going to go ahead and type in the word summer, just to show you, and I'll search for summer here, because everybody likes summer. And then in real time, it will show us that, okay, we've got 1,990 results that match summer. And those come from all different categories. So we've got a music bed here, a stager, a loop, a promo, a sweeper, etc. On the back end of our library, every single element is tagged with tons of different metadata. So even if summer isn't a part of the title of that element or in the description, if it matches the feeling of the music or anything like that, again, on the back end, that's all tagged there. So that's one way to utilize the library. One of the cool things, though, is that the search function allows us to have the advanced search capability. So in order to do that, you just click on this little arrow here and it will expand the advanced search here. And so what we're doing now is we still have summer set in our filters. And so if you want to look for example, just music beds, and you want to filter your search down to only music beds that match the word summer, here's where you'll do it. You go into categories and click on music beds. And now you'll see that we've got the music beds filter and the summer filter attached. And that narrowed it down from 1,990 to 102 results. So in real time, it shows you what your results are going to look like. And you're thinking, okay, 102 results, that's probably still too many to go through. So I'm going to add some more filters. I want a music bed that matches summer that is, let's see, positive, because everyone likes summer and positive. That narrows it down to 70. Great. Okay, I also want it to be relaxed. So now I've narrowed it down to 6. 6 is a manageable number for me to audition and go through. So I'll go ahead and click this arrow here. It will collapse that. And now I can look at all the music beds here that match summer, positive, and relaxed and audition them here. To go back to my search criteria, I'm going to open up this advanced search again and show you that you can do a bunch of other stuff with it too. I'm going to delete some of these filters to open up my search again. So I've taken off relaxed, I've taken off positive, and now I have just summer again and music beds. So again, back to 102 results here. But we also have these other filters that you can manipulate this in so many different ways. So of course you can add any of these specific descriptive words in sound or moods or that sort of thing. You can be general about the tempo if you just want fast, medium, slow, or the intensity, soft, medium, hot. Or you can get really, really specific and go down here to our BPM slider. So if you know, for example, hey, I need a bed that's no more than 120 BPM, you can go down here and set your slider to 120 BPM. And it's going to bring up every bed, again, that matches summer and is not faster in tempo than 120 beats per minute. Additionally, you can say, hey, I need something that's, less than 30 seconds or whatever it is. On the duration slider, you can move that around right there. You can also choose a specific key that the music bed is in, if that's helpful to you, if it's major or minor, sharp or flat. So again, there's so many different ways that you can sort of slice what you're looking at in order to get your desired results. It's really endless in terms of what you can do. So remember that when you have these filters selected, they will stay selected until you deselect them. So right now I'm looking at music beds, 120 BPM max, matching summer. If I, for example, click on loops now, those two filters, 120 BPM max and summer, are still added. So you have to make sure that you get rid of those if you want to get a fresh, clean slate, if you will, a blank canvas. Another great thing in the search functionality that you might have noticed is that every one of our elements in the description has these hyperlinked terms as well as these additional tags. So if you click on any of these hyperlinked terms, right here it says positive electro for St. Patrick's Day. If I click on electro, it's now going to cross-search the entire library for anything matching electro. So it's going to show me we've got 1,820 results there. Or if you want to add in a particular tag, so I want electro and I'm going to add the synth tag, that does that as well. So like I mentioned, there's a million different ways to continue to narrow your filter and find what you're looking for. We also have a brand new feature in our search functionality that allows users to find audio outside of the traditional search methods like metadata or keyword that we just talked about. It's an AI-powered search, which we're very, very proud of. No other imaging library has an artificial intelligence-powered search. And basically what that means is that users can upload audio, any audio file, an MP3 or a WAV. You click here, and it will find locally on your computer any audio file, just like you're attaching, something to an email or whatever. Or you can even paste a link from a YouTube video, Vimeo, or SoundCloud, or something like that into the search field. You paste that into the search field, and I'll show you how that works. So I'm going to go over here to this Dua Lipa video. I already copied the URL. So I'll go back to the library, paste in that URL, hit enter, and in real time, it will now ingest the waveform of the audio from that YouTube video here into the player. And just to show you how that works, I'll hit play here.
If you wanna run away with me, I know a galaxy and I could take you.
And sure enough, that is the audio for that Dua Lipa song. And now it's displaying any results in the library that match or are similar to that particular Dua Lipa song. So down here, we're going to see there's some instrumentals, of course. You're going to find a loop. There's going to be music beds, all kinds of stuff. So basically, the platform downloads the audio file into the background, and then it uses machine learning to identify all these different tracks in our library based on that example. You know, every single track has specific identifying characteristics, like an audio fingerprint, basically. And our system uses machine learning to compare those and then give you possible matches. Another cool thing you can do is I'm looking at the entire duration of that YouTube video, all 3 minutes and 51 seconds of it. But if I have a particular part of an audio file that I want to search for files that are similar to, I can click on this link that says time selection. And here's where I can say, hey, I just want to look for audio files that are similar to this particular part. So you can really get specific for finding stuff in the library that matches just a specific part of the song, or of course, the entire song, if that's what you want to go for. Recently, Google announced a hum to search feature that enables people to pinpoint songs simply by humming part of a track into Google. And honestly, this works very similarly. You'll also notice that at each soundbar here for each element, there's this Find Similar link. You can perform the same function that way by clicking Find Similar, and now the library will find similar files to that one particular one that I just had. So it's a brand new feature. We're very, very excited about how it works, and hopefully producers find it useful too. Hopefully that was helpful for you guys. The library, of course, is a robust platform. There's a ton you can do with it. And at any point, any one of us at Benztown are happy to show you guys around in more detail. If anybody wants to do a deeper dive than what you saw today, happy to do that. Please reach out to us. And just to recap, there's a ton of services that we can provide and help you guys with outside of just the libraries. Again, there's the custom imaging component if you want us to produce the imaging for you. And of course, we have a voiceover roster of 150 different talent available as well. So please don't hesitate to reach out to us at any point if any of that is of interest. And we are here to serve you, so please let us know anytime, any way that we can help you. Thanks so much.